Today I'm going to talk about the Numeric Instrument. The Numeric Instrument is able to show you a lot of different measurements in one view, and I'm going to go through how you set it up and also give you a couple of tips and tricks on how to use it in your daily work. I have prepared a preset here, called it Numeric, and I'm going to start adding a metering like within Atmos setup 714, and as a loudness type I'm gonna select dialog gated here, and that's because I know that the dialog gated loudness type will give me the most numbers actually. So we have them all in one view. Like with a lot of the other instruments, they depend on how you set up your preset from the start. So for instance, if you set up an Atmos configuration, you will have the immersive instruments available. If you only set up for stereo, you obviously only have the stereo. So what your options are when configuring the device highly depends on how you set up your preset from the start. And that's why I set it up here for 714 and I set it up for dialog gated. I press finish, and then I will just quickly route some signals into it and go to my view. I'll set up a ppm and also some numbers here. But the really important part is the numeric, and here we have it, numeric. Here, as a default, it shows fewer measurements, but if I press edit here and press active readouts, I can select which measurements to display, and I can select the none, which obviously gives me no measurements, or I can select all, and just as part of the demo, let's select all and see what we get. Well, we get a lot of numbers, but those are the ones that you can display. Now, of course, there's nobody that would ever display all these numbers at the same time. So, but just for the demo here, you can see what the choices are. Momentary, short-term, and integrated loudness. The loudness range, true peak max, momentary maximum, which is the maximum value of the momentary measurements within your time range. Same for short-term maximum. Then we have the integration time. Then we have short-term dialog. So that's short-term when on dialog channels, when dialog is detected. Same with integrated dialog. So integrated with dialog, or dialog gated integrated. Loudness range, that is dialog gated. And then we have the dialog percentage here, which shows the percentage of your audio that contains dialog. So if this says 50%, half of your program material will contain dialog. Then we have short-term BG, that's background. And the background are the channels with no dialog, basically. So typically in a 5.1 setup, you would have the dialog on the center channel. So the background channels are the left, right, left surround, right surround channels. Same with integrated, so that's the integrated value of the integrated loudness of the background channels. Then we have PLR, which is peak to loudness ratio. We have LDR, which is the loudness to dialog ratio. And we have BDR, which is the background to dialog ratio. And then finally, we have short-term and integrated for ND, which is non-dialog. So non-dialog is the sections of your audio that has no dialog. All these numbers, especially with this background loudness, the LDR, BDR, non-dialog channels, I will cover that later in more details, probably on the blog on our website. The point is here that you would never put all of these numbers in one view as I've done it here. You probably pick some of them. So let's do that. I'll start out with none here, and I'll say I will have one that just shows me the integrated and the time. Now I have it here. And the cool thing is now that I can have this here, and I can take another one. Put it here. And I can go in here, select none. And here I want the background to dialog ratio, and I want the short-term background and integrated background. Just as an example, I have that here. So you can see, and I can have more of them. I could have one that shows me just the true peak max, if I'm interested in that. So all that, of course, depends on delivery standards and stuff like that. So in some cases you want some numbers, in other cases you want other numbers. But the really cool thing about the numeric instrument is that it's so flexible. You can basically decide exactly what to show in it. You know, you can place it wherever you want on your screen, where it makes sense. And you can, of course, also, if I make another view here, I can make another numeric. And here in my secondary view, just have all of them, just for the sake of the demo. So like that. So now I have configured two views, one with some selection of parameters and one with all of them. That's basically it for the numeric instrument. There's a lot of details with regards to the actual measurements. But once you know those, it's rather easy to pick the ones that you want and place them exactly where you want on the screen. So that's the numeric instrument.